The Cowboys have an official esports gaming team, which begs the question, Gil Leberton, when's the last time you played a video game?
It's been a while, but BioShock 2, lead level designer, my son.
You're so making that up.
My son.
Oh, that's right, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
John Henry?
Little Madden, probably 10 years ago.
I mastered Pong.
Well, actually, guys, I'm playing this really cool game right now where you play as like a samurai ninja.
Silence, millennial. It is PressBox DFW Live. I'm Richie Witt alongside two venerable Metroplex sports writers, Gil Leberton, John Henry. Episode 12. This is the Dirty Dozen. Let's get right to our guest this week, shall we? It's an old partner of mine. It is NBC5 sports director and anchor. I think he's been there since like 2000-ish. It's old friend Newey Scruggs. New Dog, what's up?
My man, year 19 of my 4-year plan to go back to L.A.
Dude, you have been talking about L.A. since the day we started working together. That's all right. How's that working out for you?
Hey, man, the way the Lakers are these days, I'm fine right where I am.
Laker man. Newey Scruggs has 7 Emmys on his resume, but he also has a 2-year stint with yours truly on his resume. Newey, I'll tell you the truth. I looked so hard last night for our old intro music on 105.3 The Fan. We did the show together. I looked for the intro music to Tiger's Wood. Could not find it, but I wanted to play that for you. Do you have that anywhere?
Ludicrous, man.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. You're exactly right. Yeah. All right.
Look up Ludicrous.
Let's get to this. Josh Hamilton goes into the Rangers Hall of Fame. Your initial thought was?
Deservedly so.
Asterisk by that, or just he's deserving
no,
and
not
good?
At all.
Tell me why.
This is a guy who's, when you talk about in my opinion, the glory run of this franchise and making 2 World Series, Josh Hamilton was you could argue the straw that stirs the drink. Josh Hamilton's a guy who brought people to the ballpark.
Yeah, but what was in that drink?
That's debatable at times.
Ginger
ale. It was loaded,
mixed.
but we know this. But all of this came with Josh. Josh took the Rangers off, page 4 or 5 and helped put it on page 1. Look, when you talk about going to the World Series twice, something they've never done, they haven't been back since, this guy was a part of it. His time here was impactful. And we can talk about, well, how long was it? Or do you want to talk about the impact that he had while he was here? This guy was, as Jimmy Johnson used to say, the word difference maker. He was a difference maker for the Rangers. Yeah. He deserves his spot.
And, of course, Newey was there in San Francisco. And we knew it was, you knew it was San Francisco because
my wife's from there.
No, that's not the clip. Man. That's not the viral internet clip I'm thinking of.
Yes, the clip is because my wife's from there. Yes,
I should have pulled that clip.
I love that town. I love that town.
So Newey, since he's going to be all modest, Newey's doing a live shot on NBC5 before the World Series in 2000. That'd be 10, right, when they played the Giants.
Right. 10.
We're in San
pier
Francisco,
outside the ballpark.
And Newey's doing a live shot. And Newey, just recreate. Tell us what went down that memorable night.
All right, so it's the 4 o'clock live shot, which means it's 2 o'clock in San Francisco, and we're doing it right next to McCovey Cove. And there are people who are already, parked, and they're getting ready for the baseball game. And my photographer, Juan, and I, we're just standing doing our live shot, and about 70 feet away, there's a rock, and these guys are there, and they are lighting it up, and they're lighting it up with some
middle of the business day.
That I'm like, man, this is not the regular weed you smell at a concert. I mean, this is some homegrown. These guys are chemists or something, because we're just standing there. We're getting buzzed from the contact. I'm like, wow. So I do my live shot talking about the pitching matchup, and it's 4 o'clock, so they want to ask you questions to kill time. And I said, you know what? That's got to be on. Right over here, there's some people smoking weed. And They are getting after it. I'm just like, it's 2:00, man. Brother, save some for the game. What you going to have left? Because they were going at it pretty hard.
They're smoking weed over there. God, it was so funny.
So it became this big thing where
viral.
Absolutely.
the stuck on mayor's office. The police got involved. I mean, it really blew up. And the next day they had a policeman in McCovey Cove, and they had cops all around the Weed Rock. They figured out where the Weed Rock was that I was talking about. And there's all these people around. And then the San Francisco Chronicle interviewed me about it. They were talking about it on the radio there. And my first thing that really, what I didn't want anyone to think was that I did not like San Francisco. I mean, I love that place. I love the Bay Area, man.
Yeah, you weren't an FBI undercover snitch. You were just making an observation, which was kind of humorous.
And as I was saying, it's the 4:00 live shot, man. It's not a big sports audience at 4:00.
True.
Our viewership is older ladies at that time, Channel 5. So it was just kind of a throwaway line, and I didn't expect it to catch on what it was, but that was my thing. When I was talking to the person from the San Francisco Chronicle, I don't want anybody at all to think that I do not love this town. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm like, oh my gosh, weed is bad. I don't care. Live your life, do what you do. And of course, the kind of cool thing about the game was because we had to do our 10:00 live shots because we couldn't air them during the game because Fox had the right. So we go back to McCovey Cove that night to do the live shot. There's like a grandma, 60-something years old. She's sitting there puffing, and they're all passing it. Everybody's doing it, and it's no big deal. But I just kind of felt bad that it became a big deal off something I said just joking around.
That's just crazy the way it works. Vern Lundquist will always say that he'll go to an airport even till today, and people say, hey, it's the Bowling for Dollars guys. After all the thing, Vern has done. Like I said, you got 7 enemies. You got more than that, enemies. You got 7 Emmys, and you've been here for like going on 20 years. You've interviewed, Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban, Dirk Nowitzki, everybody, award-winning interviews. And what people sometimes remember Newey Scruggs for is they're smoking weed over there. It's just the way it goes, man.
Newey, as of right now,
Gil's watching it
the
on
video
YouTube.
on YouTube has had 173,000 views.
It's your highest rated show, the 4:00 live show.
That number's wrong because
is it?
Channel 5 ended up a couple years ago like doing an embargo or something for it because they wanted to somehow get like the credits for the hit. So then they did something
that's
else.
Just YouTube.
But it was on Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly aired it. Jimmy Kimmel aired it. Not Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon aired it on the remix.
That's crazy.
I had people, calling me up. A friend of mine's mom back in North Carolina is like, hey, is your old high school friend on TV? I saw him. He was talking about weed on Fox News.
He's a really talented TV guy. He's talking about weed. It's a long time.
What happened to him in life? Oh, he's on TV today, and people are smoking weed in California. So, yeah.
Long-time NBC5 sports director, anchor Newey Scruggs joining us on PressBox DFW Live. So let's switch gears and talk about Dak, because he's such an enigma. We talked about Josh being an enigma. Is Dak worth $30 million a year?
All right.
We've approached this, and that's how you have to answer.
Let me use the LA reference.
Go.
Okay. I used to drive by Beverly Hills all the time. It wasn't the price was the price. If you want to live in Beverly Hills, this is what the price cost, and it was expensive. The quarterback market is Beverly Hills. It's expensive. It doesn't matter how big the house is or whatnot. You know what? You got to pay an exorbitant amount of money just to get in. Dak Prescott, if they want to franchise this guy after this season, it's going to cost them $29 million, probably 30, depending on how much the cap raises up. So this number is going to be what you're going to have to pay him. The same way people were moaning and groaning about Tank. Oh, he's not worth $20 million. I like him at 17, but I don't like him at 20. Well, guess what? He got 20 because the franchise tag and how that all works meant they were going to have to pay it. And remember this. CAA is the agency. CAA deals in the quarterback market.
Yep.
They're not about to have Dak Prescott take less than $30 million because it'll be used against them when they deal with other clients.
Absolutely.
Because Drew Rosenhaus, somebody else will say, hey, man, you don't want to sign with CAA. They can't even get a man $30 million who's never had a losing season, who's gone to 2 Pro Bowls and taken them to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years he's there. You can't sign with them. That is something that people forget that will be factored into this. CAA can't do a bad deal.
You make a good point, and your point is it's irrelevant whether Dak is worth $30 million a year because that's the price it costs to keep Dak is $30 million a year.
Exactly. That's the price in Beverly Hills.
There
And look, this is the low price. This is a small house.
Yeah, this is a cabana.
This ain't the 7-bedroom mansion. We're talking about a 3-bedroom over here in Beverly Hills, okay? That's what you're getting here. And Stephen Jones did a nice job of laying it out to say, hey, look, Dak's not going to get the $33 million that Aaron Rodgers got. He's not going to get the $36 million or $35 million that Russell Wilson. No, we're not going to give him that, but we'll pay him. So to me, you're saying, all right, we'll give you that $30 million. But the same way they moaned and groaned about Tank Lawrence, guess what? They're going to have to sit up here and pay Dak Prescott the same thing. People forget how much money they paid Alex Smith last year with Washington. And people are like, oh, my gosh. And then the money that Kirk Cousins got to $84 million. I mean, you start asking resumes of, hey, what's Kirk Cousins done? It's going to be a high number. Carson Wentz has been hurt, and he's about to get $30 million.
Yep, hadn't done
Jared
anything.
Goff is about to get over $30 million. This is just where it's going. The cap is going up. These are the numbers you have to pay.
Newey Scruggs joining us on PressBox DFW Live, my old radio partner from The Fan. 2009 and 10 we did a show. Be honest with me. How often do you miss me?
Oh, every time you post on Twitter, I see Rich say, oh, yeah.
Speaking of Twitter,
Look,
so listen to
this is
you.
a guy I worked with before he ran off with Greg Williams.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Then I had to go do it. I had to now do my show at 9 a.m., which meant I had to get up at 5 in the morning in Arlington to make that drive over to 75. But, yeah, you're missing.
I'll have to accept that, even though you know in your heart of heart that is absolutely wrong. All right, so speaking of Twitter.
Bill Parcells quote? All I can go by is what I see.
Oh, I know. All right, Parcells. All right. Speaking of Twitter, though, I saw a picture of you. Dude, you're slim and trim. You've been doing P90X? What have you been doing?
You know what, man? It's funny you say that. I moved, and I found the old things of P90X. I'm like, I still got this. And so I tried to do the abs one day.
Oh, it's killer, isn't it?
Like killer. Now, I mean, that's a couple months ago. I can do a little bit more ab work than I did before.
Oh,
but
you're looking good.
At the end of the day, something I didn't talk about for a long time to people, but I have type 2 diabetes, and I finally got to that point in time. I'm like, I got to do something before something bad happens. And a friend of ours, her ex-husband ended up dying, and I know their kids, and so here's these fatherless kids now, and the guy was younger than me. He didn't take care of himself,
Nope.
and so I just felt like, man, shame on me if I keep living the way I'm living and I don't handle this, and it can be handled and it can be reversed. So that's what I've tried to do, and got involved with one of Troy Aikman's companies, and I've been able to lose 7 or 8 pounds.
Well, good for you. You look slim and trim. I'm proud of you. Before we let you go, let me ask you this, because I'm an old newspaper guy. So is Gil Leberton and John Henry here, old Star Telegram exes. Newspapers, as we used to say on our show, Newey, newspapers are dead and gone. What is the role now of local TV sports? Because it's got to be changing, right? I mean, now you've got ESPN. You can get your scores anywhere. How's the role of your show and your function changed?
Well, people say you turn on ESPN, but you don't know what time you're going to get your Dallas-Fort Worth sports. And, hey, look, let's be honest. Outside of Cowboys, they're not airing anything right now. The only thing you hear about, the stuff you do hear about the Mavericks is either the sexual harassment stuff from Sports Illustrated, or it was about Dirk. They kind of got on to Luka a little bit, but there's very little there. You didn't see anything on ESPN about stars until they made the playoffs. So people still turn us on. The numbers aren't the same because there's so many channels now that people have options, but we still have an audience. Digitally, obviously, we have to help ourselves in that aspect, but people still watch. Hey, look, on Sunday night, our show wins.
Absolutely.
We win. I mean, we come on after Sunday Night Football. The numbers on Sunday Night Football. Whether the Cowboys are playing or not, we get a huge number, and then we do the news. The news loses numbers, but then we come out of the news and we're still winning. So, people still watch, and like anything, between your social media mentions and the angry emails, people say something. They're watching.
Oh yeah, and let me let me return a volley of your service. And by the way, thank you for firing me from the Sunday night show and replacing me with Jean Jacques. That was really nice of you.
That was not me.
Neither was I, Greco. You know that.
That was not me.
I think it's 15-all now in our game of tennis.
No, it might be about 40-15.
Oh, okay. Nui, I love you, man. Enjoy your work, and let's keep in touch. Keep on that diet. You sound great, and you look great. Good having you, man.
Thanks,
Fellas,
Nui.
I appreciate you. Keep on grinding, doing your thing. Take care now. Bye-bye.
NBC5 sports director and longtime anchor Nui Scruggs. We had a lot of fun doing a show together on 105.3 The Fan. Read our writing daily at PressBox DFW Live. Watch and or listen to us right here weekly, PressBox DFW Live. Next up, good news, not arrested. Bad news, cuffed.
You lose. Oh, that's right. We got pregame meal. We were referring to Richie. Always leaves.
Always.
Always is the last one caught with his headphones on, and he said, "I bet you it won't be me today."
I was busy doing a fascinating and very accurate tease while you guys were taking your headphones off. Cheaters.
Sorry.
All right, where are we today, by the way?
Well, we are looking up the 18th fairway
Yes, we are.
toward the 18th green at one of the prettiest places on earth. One of the places I like.
Gorgeous.
I love the most. Colonial Country Club. This city of Dallas is a real golf course. Notice, well, the clubhouse, we're only seeing a sliver of it there.
Yeah.
But look at this, a lake. Those green things there, those are trees. The rough doesn't look like, something you'd see alongside the railroad track somewhere. This is real rough, real sand traps.
Yeah.
You don't submerge yourself down to your.
That's a classic golf course.
Right.
And where the Byron Nelson has moved to out there at Trinity Forest is, I don't have any words I would like to say on this podcast for what I think of that golf course.
I can't believe that they thought it would be an improvement. I mean, with all due respects to Ben Crenshaw and the people who designed it, and especially with all due respects to the great salesmanship club and all the money they've raised over the years, they need to think that over again because
It
hasn't
it's a
worked
two-year failed
yet.
experiment, and we already say it's failed.
It looks terrible on TV.
It looks
too.
terrible, and the player, they shoot 23 under on a PGA course. That's like a pitch and putt. It's embarrassing.
Well, and they're lucky they had a mild spring this year too. And
Yeah.
of course they moved it up a week, but
Right.
last year there's no trees as you mentioned to cover, and
But
it's hot.
in general, the conversation this time of year has turned into, are you going to the Byron? Are you going to the Nelson? No, but I can't wait for Colonial. It's been
Right.
good for Fort Worth because now everybody that wants professional golf is waiting to go see this beautiful golf course
Right.
instead of that track out in Dallas.
Every TV shot of whatever hole you have at Colonial looks good. It
Yeah.
looks like a place that, I'd like to see that.
Yep,
you know?
absolutely. I'll be out there Friday.
It's
Can't
easy
wait.
to walk. It's a tight confines, and that just makes it all the better. There's not a lot of room for partying, but plenty enough.
Obviously, we're not in the press box. We're in the middle of the 18th fairway.
Yeah,
the press tent is off.
Tennis center.
Yeah, it's off.
Yeah,
the
way
back.
yeah,
Yep.
back to over Richie's right shoulder there.
Yeah.
But it's funny. The first Colonial I went to, I think was 1981.
I was going to say 24, but
I
yeah,
went the
maybe.
year before Nicholas won. Didn't Nicholas
Then
win in
82.
82? And at that time we were in the building by the tennis by the swimming pool. Swimming pool used to be right off the first tee, and they would bring the players up to us there, and we could look out over the 18th green, and then gradually we started moving further
Yeah.
and further away from the golf. And
Did they have that covered out there?
it was a building. We were
Was it?
inside the
Okay,
building on the
okay.
second floor.
Okay.
And then we moved into the main clubhouse to the second floor. They had us in a little cubby hole there for a while. And then gradually we started moving. We went out to the tennis center and there've been various changes since then. But
Yep.
you know,
I'm going out there this week. I can't wait.
it's
Jordan
great
Spieth will
event.
be there. Will Zeke Elliott be there?
Probably not.
Tell me why.
Better not be.
Yeah, he
Drinking
better
margarita.
he better lay
Running
low.
around crazy on a golf cart.
A video surfaced by everyone's favorite TMZ that has a sports division now that hunts down
Yeah, they have TMZ
sports
Sports,
celebrities. Right,
absolutely.
TMZ
Sports
Sports.
gossip, yeah.
And a video surfaced of an incident, for lack of a better word. Here we are, we're going to run it here. This is Zeke. Those of you that can see this, this is Zeke on wearing a LeBron James Lakers
Maybe
jersey.
he's trying to disguise himself.
And he's roaming around right outside the gate in the parking lot. That woman is not naked. That although it looks like it, this is apparently standard dress at the Electric Candy Carnival.
I believe it's the Electric
Daisy
Daisy
Carnival. That's
Yeah,
it. That's
EDC.
It.
It's a music
EDC.
festival, right?
Music.
That was it.
Yeah, weird music festival. And this is Zeke's girlfriend. They're having some sort of disagreement there. But this person with the smartphone camera here keeps following Zeke around. He knows that surely something's bound to happen. He sees that Zeke might be a tad inebriated.
Agitated.
Agitated and inebriated. Plus, he's got a girlfriend that he's semi-arguing with, and now he attempts to go by a barrier, and a security guard says, "Hold on there, big fella." And
I thought the security guard was trying to arrest him because he's wearing a fanny pack.
well, the fanny pack's something else. And here it all happens. Zeke leans into him, like I wrote this morning. I think he gave him like one of those blocks that Emmett used to do for Quincy Carter. Kind of a
More protective than proactive, but still, yeah. When you're as big and strong as Zeke, very, very effective.
right. It worked. He fell back. The guard fell backwards over the metal barrier there, and the Las Vegas police were quick to put the plastic handcuffs on Zeke, and unfortunately, that's where most people stop watching the story, where as soon as the headline used the word handcuffs, they didn't care to read the rest of it. They didn't see the part that said he wasn't charged with anything, wasn't arrested. They let him go. They moved him off to a neutral corner, and they let him go minutes later, apparently. The person that fell, the guard that fell, said that he wasn't going to press any charges. We don't know what that
I
means.
think I would have been arrested for doing that. At a concert, if I was inebriated and agitated,
Yeah. Well-
and I physically even touch a security guard, much less causing him to fall over backwards, I'd be in jail.
Public
Wouldn't you?
intox, probably.
At the very least.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Except, they were trying to clear it was over.
Yes.
And it was 3:00 in the morning on a Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and they had 150,000 people there over 3 days. They did make some arrests for various things, and I got to think that the police weren't interested so much in security guys that weren't hurt, that fell over backwards and whatever.
I get that.
That's
but-
not an arrestable
But that
thing.
what happened on that video was not nothing.
Right.
I don't know what exactly it was, but it was more
He
than
caused the guy to fall. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
First of all, what's he doing out at 3 a.m. drunk?
He's being
with his-
23 years old.
He thought it was St. Patrick's Day, to
But with his history,
to allude to something
it's
that
just
happened
a
to
bad
him.
idea.
And we just given him credit.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I give him credit in Wits End last week. I think we talked about it maybe on the show that it seems like this young man is maturing right before our eyes, and he couldn't wait 1 week to go, not so fast. No, I'm not.
The one extra shot of Tawaka.
So
or
we talked
whatever,
about
be the NW.
still drinking that Tawaka lemon drop. Is that what you
I'm not, but
Okay, so Gil, last week we watched the Porzingis
Right.
video when he shoved maybe not his girlfriend, but somebody, a female in his posse, and we said that's nothing. Is this something?
To be fair, I'm tempted to say no because nothing came of it. But we're not the ones that are the ones to worry about here. The public is gonna look at it and
The
say,
NFL's going to look at it.
that's the worry here. Well, how are
Even
they
if
going to
you're-
see this?
Even if you're just cuffed, that's
that's
a
the
red
bad
flag. Like Porzingis wasn't even cuffed. I know it was Latvian. Who the hell knows what their laws are
Right.
and how their police operate? But even if it's plastic cuffs, if you're detained by police for something you did, the NFL is going to look into it. And
with your history,
yeah,
especially.
exactly right.
Yeah.
I got a kick. I wrote my story last night on looking on the internet of people's reaction to the video, and I thought it was perfect. Some guy says Zeke's downfall will be liquor and booty. Can't handle either one of those without drama. Partly true.
He who is without sin shall cast the first stone on that
Right.
one. That's
Another guy said, y'all all missing the real story. What's up with Zeke and the fanny pack?
there you go.
That right there is what is the real story. What is he doing with that fanny pack?
I thought this was funny. The guy says, this is a bad look for the Lakers.
touche. We need to hire that guy.
He's wearing the Lakers jersey.
PressBoxDFW.com.
But the one that summed it up to me was somebody that said that TMZ really stands for they manhunting Zeke.
There you go.
That's one of them, absolutely.
They're on his trail.
All right, we'll keep up with Zeke's latest travails, and there's Gil's column at PressBoxDFW.com. Next up on PressBox DFW Live, John's going to tell us to pick our poison.
You guys, does your front yard need a little curb appeal by chance?
Yes.
Who doesn't?
Horrible. I'm a horrible landscaper.
Well, I've got your guys.
Ronald Reagan.
It's not, but Ronald Reagan endorses him too. Hunt Lawn Services of Fort Worth has all your needs covered if you need that stuff, including your Arabian Night lilies if you want those. Call Clint Hunt at 817-707-3331. And I was looking up the
What's his name again?
Clint Hunt.
So I can just call that number and ask for Clint.
Yes.
And say John Henry sent me from PressBox DFW.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I may do that right now. Go ahead.
Do it. I was looking at Clint, as I mentioned last week, was a hell of a baseball player. So I went through the archives the other day to see what Clint Hunt was doing with Southwest Baseball this week. He got beat 1-0 by Grand Prairie in the playoffs. Stranded 15 runners, but they advanced nonetheless. So good job, Clint Hunt. Good man. And he can, as I said, the Gipper even endorses Hunt Lawn Services.
Get you ready for summer because you know your yard is long. It's been raining every dang weekend.
Exactly,
now, so you
exactly.
get trouble in Fort Worth. All right, give us pick your poison. What's going on?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about, did you guys see what the city of Dallas has done? They're renaming a street.
Yes, I saw that.
Nowitzki Way will soon replace Olive Street as a thoroughfare in near downtown Dallas.
Why didn't they call it?
Dirk,
I have a better name.
Dirk Drive.
Dirk. Well, Dirk didn't drive. Dirk Court.
Dirk Court.
Court.
There you go. That would have been better.
I think there's something about a court. There's
Yeah,
something
you
about
think
how you
it's-
have to name it. Like a court, I don't think goes through.
Right. It's a dead end.
But they seem
It's like a
racist.
cul-de-sac
Yeah,
type thing.
just call it Dirk Drive.
But Dirk.
Dirk
you,
Dribble.
you put Dirk in the name, not Nowitzki.
I agree.
Put Dirk in the name. Everybody knows who Dirk is. There's
Yeah.
only one Dirk.
Totally with you.
Well deserved, I would say.
No brainer, right?
No brainer.
Yeah.
It precedes a statue, no doubt,
Yep.
one of these days. Does the name Lloyd Daniels do anything for your
yes.
memory?
Oh, yes. Jerry Tarkanian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basketball. Old college basketball.
Yes.
Almost player.
So yesterday on Twitter, I follow an old Texas Tech basketball player by the name of Duncan, who got a new recruit yesterday commitment. Lloyd Daniels Jr. at Lubbock Christian University.
Oh, so he's already been to 2 colleges like his daddy. I
He's
think
only-
the daddy went to 5
he's only
colleges
been to one.
and 6 or 7 high schools.
No,
Right?
you're right. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
So Lloyd Daniels' son's going to Tech now.
Lubbock Christian University.
He's going to
Oh,
Lubbock
good.
Christian or he's going to Tech?
Lubbock Christian.
Okay. Who do you follow for Lubbock Christian recruiting news?
Tech alum is the coach.
Is the coach.
So-
Todd Duncan played in the mid '80s after the Bubba Jennings era.
Okay.
Late '80s. Good player at Texas Tech. So anyway, Lloyd Jr. He came out of somewhere in New Jersey and went to junior college in Oklahoma. Tishomingo, Oklahoma, Murray State College, not Murray State University, but Murray State College.
So confusing.
Not the Racers,
Right.
but the
Who knows?
I forget.
Chippewas.
Indians.
Could be the Pacers.
Let's go with Pacers.
Could be the Pacers. So anyway, watch out, West Texas. You have a Lloyd Daniels member of the family tree coming your way.
Is the daddy still alive?
What's the
He is
Lloyd? Give us the
unbelievable.
Lloyd Daniels really like the elevator
Oh, geez.
pitch, like real quick. Why did he play at UNLV?
He
you know
did.
Lloyd Daniels, senior.
Yeah,
Did he ever?
I don't think
play
he ever
for, No, he never
played.
he
played.
never did, and
He
actually
played
his
for several NBA and
he was considered one of the best talents to ever come out of New York
yes,
City.
right.
Better than Kareem and whoever else came out of there. And UNLV got their hands on him, but he didn't have the grades to get into UNLV, so he goes to junior college in California
okay.
with the understanding that 2 years later you'll be at UNLV. First problem was wherever in California, I think it was near Los Angeles, he got popped for buying crack cocaine.
Okay,
At that point, even Jerry Tarkanian said,
that's pretty bad. If you lose Tark, you've done something wrong.
what really lost Tark, however,
But he didn't really lose Tark. But go ahead.
he didn't, and eventually. But what Tark's problem was is that UNLV's middleman for Lloyd Daniels attending was a guy named Richard Perry. It's called he was convicted twice and served federal time for fixing games.
Yeah.
And at that
You
point,
hate when that happens.
at that point, Jerry's like, okay, when that's found out, I got to wash my hands of you. And the fixer also was shown in I remember a picture
Hot tub.
in a hot tub
Yeah, I was
with
thinking of-
3
that's
UNLV
right.
players.
It's not a good look when you're in the
3
hot tub with
three
the
months
fixer.
after they got beat by
That's right.
Duke in the upset, one of the most
Yeah.
monumental upsets in
They should have went back to
NCAA
back.
history.
Yep.
And that was the end of Tark too.
Yeah.
Lloyd
But
Daniels-
Tark ended up signing him when Tark briefly coached the Spurs,
Yes,
and
yes.
he had some fabulous games for
Well,
the
he-
Spurs.
Lloyd
Lloyd
Daniels
Daniels-
played for the Spurs.
He
Yeah.
managed
Yeah.
he managed to hop around 4 or 5 teams over 6 years or so in the NBA. And then he played over
4 or 5 continents, if I remember.
He
correctly, yeah.
did eventually. So welcome to Texas.
That's a good
Lloyd
story.
Daniels Jr. We'll be catching up with you at some point.
Let's have him on.
We'll be catching up with him, I think, at some point.
You and Reagan and Lee Harvey's
bring-
bobblehead. Can you get Lloyd Daniels
Yes.
Jr. on for a
Yes.
guest? All right, you're
Absolutely. All right. Now on to the real double dribble. Decided we'd play a game called we'll do this one or that one. You have to pick one that you'd rather have.
Let's play this or that.
Mm-hmm.
This or that. Let's start with a couple of good baseball center fielders. One, we both know him.
Okay.
One is named Mr. Willie Mays, pretty
Heard
good
of him.
player. And the other is Mike Trout, currently reigning baseball's best player. Both pretty good guys, both pretty good players. And their numbers are going to probably be about the same. You think Mike Trout will one day hit 660 home runs?
No,
You don't?
0.
He's got 250 right now at age 25?
Yeah. No, Willie Mays. Absolutely.
You're taking Willie Mays.
Willie Mays did what Mike Trout did 40 years ago before the advent of training. He was just
True.
a raw physical
Absolutely.
specimen that you can't coach what he did.
So you believe Willie Mays with today's
Can you imagine?
modern technology and nutrition?
He'd set every record, fielding and hitting and stealing bases, etc. One of
Well-
the greatest athletes. I barely even saw him. He was my dad's favorite player, so I learned about him as a kid. But to me, he's one of the top 5 greatest baseball players ever. Trout's one of the top 5 baseball players now, but he's got to do it for another 20 years.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Trout's gonna hit.
But you got to pick one.
Oh, I take Willie Mays.
Bingo.
Because in today's dollars, today's home run currency, Willie Mays would have hit 800 home runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's for sure.
Who do you take?
Juice ball. I'd go Willie Mays.
Okay. Sorry, Mike. You're out.
You're decent, Mike, but just not Willie
Yeah,
Mays.
let's check back in 10 years.
All right.
Think we'll be doing the show in 10 years?
Sure.
Absolutely. If you guys had to pick an NFL owner,
Yes.
you pick Jerry Jones
Or
or Robert Kraft.
This is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Is it?
Well, what has this guy done? What's he won?
He hasn't gone to Orchids of Asia for one.
He hasn't scored. at Orchids of Ages.
There you go.
As far as we know, he hasn't scored at Orchids of Ages.
No, you know what?
We're not voting for personal life.
Give me
here.
Jerry
We're voting
Jones. Give me Jerry Jones.
Okay.
He's done more for the NFL than Robert Kraft has. Robert Kraft's done more for New
please.
England Patriots
Who cares?
in the form of Tom Brady.
How has that have ticket prices gone down? All this stuff that Jerry Jones has done for the NFL, have ticket prices gone down? Has the cost of parking and beer and everything gone down? Has the
No.
price of NFL Sunday ticket gone down?
But what kind of owner's going to, I mean, unless an owner wants to make the NFL a charity case, it's not going to happen.
If I'm an owner, of course, if I'm an NFL owner, of course I vote for Jerry Jones. But if I'm a fan, if I follow football, give me Robert Kraft and the machine that he's put together.
Yeah, the best-
All
consistently
his
year
machine
after year.
was drafting Tom Brady, and he didn't even do that.
Oh, please.
What he did
His
was get out of
cast
the
has
way.
changed.
What he did is get out of the way of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And that alone, I think, is better than Jerry. Makes him better.
You
than
go
Jerry.
Kraft?
I do it. Yes, I do.
All right,
Kern.
sorry.
The other
Jerry.
guy should have fired his general manager years ago, but he obstinately
All right,
chose not
sports
to.
fan.
He didn't fire the
Sports
best.
talk
He didn't
caller.
hire the best coach in the NFL, and his ego get in the way and fire him.
Okay,
He's
I'm
allowed. it.
outvoted.
Even though they've had their problems, as we know.
Okay, next.
I guess y'all like
All right,
Andy
all
more
right,
than I do.
all right. In the genre of professional sports cheerleaders, I give you two choices here. Those are the Dallas Cowboys, or those Laker girls of California who also have quite a reputation for cheering their
I was
teams.
about to say, what's he going to say? How's he going to finish that sentence?
for cheering
I got to
their
choose
teams.
one dance troupe?
Yeah.
I mean, I picked the Cowboys.
Well, the
I mean, my
basketball.
criteria is they've been around longer and they've done it better, like they were the first. But I wouldn't kick either one of them out of bed.
No, I wouldn't either.
It took a dark turn.
Out of my-
The basketball dance girls. The crowd is closer to them.
Yep.
You can see their faces and
Yes.
all that. It's just
So you
it's a
actually look
different
at their
thing.
faces.
You're able to see their faces, right?
I couldn't even tell if they had heads.
Sure, you
to
look
be
at
honest
this.
with you.
Well, if you're pointing a Ronald Reagan gun at my head, I'm going to go with the Texas girls every time.
Thank you. By the way, Mavericks dancers gone.
Yeah, I
What happened
saw
to
that.
No.
New CEO Cynthia Marshall said it's not appropriate for our family atmosphere, and they're no longer Mavericks dancers or those big fat guys called the Maniacs. They're also gone.
They're gone
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Now we're just going to have
Just
like
a
a puppet
screaming
show
announcer.
and
Screaming announcers,
Screaming
and
announcer.
screaming loud
Maybe
music.
Bozo
going on.
the
And,
Clown or
and music
something, I don't
turned
know.
up to 11.
It is hard to watch them.
All right, so
Mavericks in
Cowboys
NBA
cheerleaders
game.
win. What else you got?
Yeah.
All right, amongst professional sports trophies, which would you rather have, a Lombardi Trophy or a Stanley Cup?
Lombardi. Not even close.
Well, that would depend on what town is looking at it. Dallas Fort Worth, Lombardi
It's a
Trophy.
no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Although,
I mean, that's every town in America, right? Only in Canada would you covet the Stanley Cup over
The original
Lombardi.
six.
I'll bet even
Yeah.
in Detroit.
Yeah.
Where they've never even had a sniff of the Super
yeah,
Bowl.
they want Lombardi.
They want a Lombardi
Of course.
Trophy to.
I think the Stanley Cup,
But in Canada, there's
Yeah.
no
Well,
question.
of course.
and I think the Stanley Cup's the hardest one to attain, though. I mean, that's a rugged
16 games.
It's no
Yes.
different than the NBA.
Well, percentage-wise, it's not, but it's just a tougher game.
But I'll tell you,
Why is
well-
it tougher?
It's more physical.
Oh, physical. You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
We argued that.
More stringent.
in Buffalo that magic night, to see the emotion on the faces of the victorious stars and their whole families, especially the wives, there was such raw emotion and tears shed over just being able to clutch the Stanley Cup. It's one of the things that seared in my memory. Really, it means something. They grow up as hockey kids, dreaming of that, of getting
yeah,
hold
no
of that
doubt.
trophy.
It's a cooler trophy too, and Lord
Yeah, it's
Stanley
got the
Lord
name of
Stanley's
everybody.
a
And it's
cooler
got
name,
everything
yeah.
else.
It's got everybody's
Absolutely.
name on it.
Right, but we agree that Lombardi wins.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially.
Yeah,
here.
how many have the Cowboys gotten, by the way, since? Never mind.
All right, my
Three
la-
is your answer. Go ahead.
lastly,
None since
A long time. Lastly, I took a look at the two number 2 teams from the final AP rankings. One is BCS, one is AP. The first one is the number 2 SMU Mustangs in 1983.
Pony Express.
Lance McElhenney.
Lance McElhaney, Dickerson, and my favorite,
Craig
Craig James. Or the number 2 TCU football team in 2010. Which would you rather have?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Yes.
I mean, that wasn't even TCU's best team, was it?
You're thinking of the 2014
Yeah.
team that blew the
2014
doors,
might have been better.
Yeah.
blew the doors off of Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
This
got
one was
ripped
pretty
off.
good, though. This one's pretty good.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Pony Express. The
They had a
only
lot-
reason
they had a
didn't
lot
win
of
the
guys.
championship. Didn't they tie the Cotton Bowl? against Pitt?
They beat Pitt.
Or they beat Pitt.
10-3 or 7-3.
It was somehow it wasn't an impressive enough win to get them the national
Penn
championship.
State beat number 1 Georgia in the
There you
Sugar
go.
Bowl later that night.
What a system we had. For all the things that's
Bizarre.
wrong with the college football playoff, think about that. We lived through that system.
We're picking the national champion.
Yeah, just picked it. But those guys with Dickerson and Craig James and Lance McElhaney running the option.
They were good.
It was
Michael
Carter.
Carter
was
was
the
the nose tackle on that team.
Yeah, played for the Niners. I mean, that was a talented, illegally bought team. but
Very
a
high-paid team.
Very,
They all took
very
they all
high.
took pay cuts to go to the NFL.
Who you going with? You're a TCU guy. I don't know. You going with?
Yeah,
Dalton?
I'll go with SMU because I've watched that team play. They were pretty darn
Yeah, you
good.
were intimate with both, I'm sure.
Well, I wasn't intimate with anybody.
Well, with TCU
What
you
is
were.
this turn taking a dark turn
TCU
again?
baby, but
People don't remember SMU played at Texas Stadium back
Yeah.
then. That was their home
Yeah.
field. They would get really good crowds. It was a big
Wearing
deal.
blue and back when the jerseys were up around
Oh
the
yeah, they always wear
rib
the
cage and
cut
stuff.
off shirt jerseys. All right, you want?
I'm going with my hometown TCU Horned Frogs. I'll take my 2010 TCU 2009 season TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah. All right.
2010 season.
Fort Worth's proud of you, but you're wrong. But that's okay.
And that's it for Double Dribble.
All right, Double Dribble. Read our writing daily, PressBoxDFW.com. Watch us and or listen to us right here each Tuesday, PressBox DFW Live. Next up in Wits End, should a baseball town be an eternal home place? Color me conflicted because I have slime on my goosebumps. And what I'm saying is the announcement that Josh Hamilton's going in the Rangers Hall of Fame, it made me remember how good he was as a player and what an enigma he was off the field. He was the guy who, if Nelson Cruz catches that fly ball, he's MVP of the 2011 World Series. He's the guy that just fixated not just the baseball world, but the sports world with that home run derby in 2008. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who he took the Rangers to their proudest peak on the field. 5-tool player, one of the greatest Rangers, just athletically, power-wise, speed. He could do everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But you cannot just dismiss what a knucklehead he was. And not only was it his, that he dropped the ball in 2012 at the end of that season against the A's when they off that big lead, lost the West. This was one of the final games of the year, and here's Josh, who was one of the best fielders. And I mean, he's just nonchalant, and watch him hustle after this ball. Like he was just a different guy out of nowhere. And this was
Something
the end
happened.
Yes, something happened.
Something happened.
And then we don't have video of it, but this made them not win the division, go to the wild card playing game against the Orioles. He went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and saw like 13 pitches. Like just was waving at the ball, like didn't even want to be there.
Right.
I can't forget that image. And then you've got his, he was covered in whipped cream in Arizona. He was in the Sherlock's bathroom stall. That's
broken
not
man.
That's
Very
not a
broken
good teammate. And I was at those games back then at the World Series, and then when he came back, I've never heard a player cheered louder. I've never heard a player booed louder than Josh Hamilton. Mm-hmm. So your initial reaction, Josh Hamilton's in the Rangers Hall of Fame.
Yes, absolutely.
No problem with it.
No problem with it at all.
Gil?
Good. That's my reaction because I think, you can't forget the things that you mentioned, but I certainly can separate them. Mm-hmm. And the Hall of Fame is, I think him missing the fly ball in Oakland, there was various explanations given that day.
Give me one good one.
That team wasn't playing well at the end of the year.
No,
to
there's
begin
no
with.
doubt. And he had a great
And-
season. He had 43 homers that year.
Right.
But
And and then it's not his fault that Nelly Cruz missed the
No,
fly
I'm not.
ball.
And he came back the next inning and hit a 2-run homer to put him in the lead again.
exactly right.
I think if people are going to hold anything against Josh, it's the circumstances under which he left. Like you said, he goes to the Angels, and then he's being grilled at the press conference there,
yes.
and he says, well, they had high expectations there. I don't know what people expect. It's not really a baseball test.
He said there are baseball fans there, but it's not a baseball town.
Yeah.
How do you, that's lifting your leg and using us as a fire hydrant. How do you just excuse that and go, well, he was just upset?
Well, I think the person you described, including that, is Josh Hamilton. I mean, that's him. He's
both.
He's both of those
Yeah.
people. And as far as he's certainly one of, if not the best position player in club history.
Thanks for bringing that up. So let me say this, and you're both going to look at me like Ronald Reagan out of the side of your eye. If Josh Hamilton deserves to be in the Rangers Hall of Fame, why doesn't Alex Rodriguez deserve to be there? And I know we're all like going, ugh, A-Rod, are you kidding me? Think about it. They both excelled on the field. I'll give you A-Rod's stats in a minute. We forgot how great he was while he was here.
Yeah, he was.
They both, when they left, they both took a shot. A-Rod called his teammates 24 kids. You remember that?
Right.
But he was traded.
Right.
He demanded a trade, but he was
Right.
traded. Josh left voluntarily. Let me give you
And
A-Rod's,
they couldn't wait to get him out the door either.
exactly right. But let me give you A-Rod's numbers in 3 years with the Rangers, okay? He missed one game in 3 years, okay? He won an MVP. The other 2 years, he didn't. He finished 6th and 2nd in the voting. He made the All-Star team every year. He won a Gold Glove every year. He averaged over 3 years, 52 homers, 131 RBI, and hit 305.
Yeah.
The thing I got when I wrote this column at PressBoxDFW.com about Josh, just saying I'm conflicted about it, the number one argument for Josh was, well, A-Rod was empty numbers because Josh took the team to the World Series.
Right.
Is that a good argument?
That to me is the argument.
Sure.
So A-Rod had worse teammates, so therefore he shouldn't be revered as much as Josh Hamilton. That just seems,
Well, I think
it's not a team award. It's an
sometimes there are
individual award.
circumstances that you can't control, but I mean, the Hamilton years were the best in club
No doubt.
history.
The reason that A-Rod's not in the discussion is the same reason that somebody who should already be in the Hall of Fame, the Rangers Hall of Fame, but isn't there, is Rafael Palmeiro. And the same people that have been voting against Rafael or ending the discussion whenever Rafael's name came up, they would never vote Alex Rodriguez in. I don't care if
Because of steroids.
yeah, because of steroids. It's the same group that that think that that's cheating and
So let me put it to you, and this is really blunt, but so to a lot of fans, I'm not saying this is wrong, just saying this is how it is. Using steroids is a lot worse than using cocaine. Because the
Well,
manager of that team did it, and Josh Hamilton did it on the World Series teams.
I think the other side of the coin is Palmeiro has a better argument from this side of it, but Hamilton identifies as a Texas Ranger. Rodriguez, A-Rod does not. He played
oh yeah, he was quick to distance himself from the Rangers.
right.
And-
But
then
Hamilton
never
left.
has-
Hold up, Josh Hamilton left voluntarily.
That's true.
As a free agent to the Angels, the rival intra-division Angels. How's he identify as a Ranger?
Well, he for all intents and purposes came up with the
Well,
Rangers, even though he didn't. I
Right.
mean, I realize that, but he made it in the major leagues as
he has
a
his
Texas
best
Ranger.
years, his best highlights as a Ranger. There's no doubt about
Well,
that.
Yeah.
certainly nobody, especially west of the Rockies, identifies Josh Hamilton with the Angels.
It's true. And
Not at all.
don't get me wrong, I hate Alex Rodriguez. He's a fraud, is what I call him. I
He
can't
is.
stand him. But the argument about team success is just unfair because of this.
Well, if we can't.
Hold on, let me pose this to you. With team success is why A-Rod's not in the Hall of Fame and Josh is. If that's the criteria, team success, then tell me why a pitcher that while he was in Arlington went 51-39, never played on a game that won more than 86 games, and never even sniffed a playoff game. Why is he in the Hall of Fame? And his name is Nolan Ryan.
Because he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and he had
But as a
no
Ranger,
hitters.
was he? He didn't have no hitters here, and
if
he
you-
never led him to a playoff game.
No, but if you recall, excuse me, Eddie Childs was about to ship that team off to Tampa Bay, and the organization had no credibility whatsoever. George W. bought it, the group bought it, Rusty Rose, and they signed Nolan Ryan, and he became the cornerstone of that franchise. A lot of people, they're probably not off base, say he saved them.
Yeah, no,
Which he probably did.
Yeah, that has great value. That has
saving a
great value.
franchise.
Yes, it has great value to the.
I
And I
totally
love
agree.
Eddie Childs, by the way.
candidacy.
He's one of my
It just-
favorite
it's-
people. But
It's just it just shows you an example of
You about
how
screwed that one
wacky the Rangers Hall of Fame
We
is.
can't-
There's guys that just
We can't get into the steroids thing because we'll put everybody to sleep. But on the one hand, you have the baseball people. You have a core of baseball writers that refuse to vote for people like Bonds and Clemens and
McGuire, yeah.
Palmeiro.
Yep.
And I wouldn't vote for McGuire. And but then you got football people. Patrick Peterson was just suspended for performance enhancing drugs, and everybody's first question is, when's he going to be back?
Yeah, how long? It's a ripoff. 6 games. I
Right.
can't believe it.
well, who else is in the Rangers Hall of Fame? John Wetland.
That's right.
It's in my column. Read
John
it.
Wetland's one of the ones who
Read it.
spoke out against Rafael Palmeiro being in the
right.
in the
Yep.
Hall of Fame when his name came up.
PressBoxDFW.com, my column on the disgust and the delight of Josh Hamilton being in the Rangers Hall of Fame.
Good
All right,
headline.
next up on PressBox DFW Live, it's time to round the bases. Let's head for home. It is the walk-off, where each week we count our Facebook Live viewers from last
about-
week,
we got
and
about-
wow, we're beyond abacus. We actually need like a calculator now. Another 5,000 of you watched episode 11 last week, so thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spreading the good word, and also email us your questions to, is it Gil, you still handling that? That's your email, gleberton@pressboxdfw.com. And speaking of Facebook, do we have some
We've got
questions?
we got some reactions.
We're getting some feedback?
Yes, we
Can we
are.
read it on the air?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, do it.
Our friend Robert King, do you remember him? He's the one who believes that tattoo deserves.
Oh,
a
that's
statue.
right. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
He wants to know when does tattoo get a street? That damn Robert.
Tattoo
King.
trail.
Yeah.
trail.
I've never heard.
Shirtless.
Tattoo turnpike.
There's nobody fixated on tattoo more than your
No,
friend
no,
Robert.
I'm
coming.
afraid. I'm
And-
afraid of
and
what
the
he
list-
does at night.
the
about
list
him.
is
I would
one.
love
I
to get
mean-
a tattoo question every week. That's
Tell
good.
Robert,
Keep it up, Robert.
I'll tell you. Can't meet me at camera one, Robert. You're not gonna like this, but I went to Tattoo's wedding back in the day when he got married.
Oh,
Was he shirtless?
He was not shirtless. He wore a proper tuxedo, but that's how close I was to him. And he deserves nothing. No statue, no street, a footnote. In the top 100 DFW athletes, he's others receiving votes. Sorry, Robert.
All right, RK. There you have it.
He's not gonna like that. We got a comment for next week already built in.
All right.
All right.
We got
go ahead,
We
go.
got a Zeke comment.
Bring it.
We got a Zeke comment. A friend of mine, a police officer in Fort Worth, Texas, he had a comment about Zeke and would we have been arrested had we done the same thing? And he said it's officer discretion. And I said, well, explain that. And he says that not everyone has to be arrested. Didn't appear that he shoved the security guard. He's stumbling drunk at that point and fell forward. If he wanted to shove someone intentionally, they would have flown a country mile, saying he's so strong.
His point is well taken, that if Zeke wanted to shove that security guard, that he would have went head over heels, right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
still, there was physical contact, and a security officer
Fell over backwards.
fell over backwards,
Over a metal
didn't go
barricade.
flying over a metal barrier, and Zeke, who was drunk and mad, did it.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
I've already said I would have been arrested.
Indeed. Our Gil, do you have anything to add to that? Or
No, we talked about it.
Our good friend and former colleague Jeff Wilson reminds us that Nolan Ryan also had got his 5,000 strikeout here in 300th win. Not to mention 6 and 7.
Those are all individual accomplishments, and good for him. Did nothing for the team.
Indeed.
Nothing for team success.
Yeah, but
For team
sure,
image, sure.
Sure,
Well-
he did for team success.
Why didn't
you're
A-Rod's,
talking about
why
it-
didn't A-Rod's 52 home runs do anything for team success?
Yeah, but Nolan
Same.
had a Rangers identity beyond 1993.
Yes, when he was front office, for sure.
Well,
But he's
Tom
not-
Greaves in the Hall of Fame
He's
for that
in the,
reason.
Nolan's in the Hall of Fame.
Johnny
because he
Oates
was
is in the Hall of Fame.
5,000 strikeouts, and I just think it's unfair. Why? I've spent this last 10 minutes taking up for A-Rod. I got to go take a shower. We
Yeah,
gotta
you
get out of
do.
here.
You're dirty.
All right, what's on
do.
PressBoxDFW.com this week worth reading?
John's got a great story. Of course, it's Colonial Week. Don't forget, with all due respects to the Charles Schwab people, I think this year it's called the Charles
Schwab
Schwab
Challenge.
whatever the heck that is.
And I'm going to go visit.
It's
the Dan-
Colonial.
They have a Dan
And
Jenkins tribute in the media center. I'm going to go visit that. I'm
Yeah.
going on Friday. Yep, very cool.
And it's Ben Hogan territory.
Yes.
And here's a great story about the history, some of the history of the tournament, and the man that is most identified with it. And Richie, you had your great story today on Josh Hamilton, and I took on Zeke. I invite everybody to go to PressBox DFW and read our fine offerings, if I do say so myself.
I will second yourself.
Good
also.
stuff. Absolutely.
And watch us here every week.
Absolutely.
Every
We'll be here
Tuesday.
next Tuesday for either episode 13 or maybe season 2, episode 1. Tune in to find out.
Yeah.
For Gil Leberton, John Henry, I'm Richie Witt. See you guys in the Press Box, DFW.